Hello, my name is Maggie Hartwell, and today I'm going to be talking about my market project, which deals with CAPM and the idea that the stock market is efficient. So, starting off, we really want to begin with the stock market itself and this idea that it can be efficient. So, breaking this down, it's the commonly held belief that the stock market is an equal playing field. In other words, there's no secrets or tips or tricks that can really put someone at a huge advantage above anyone else when investing in the stock market. If you want to be an investor, all of the information that you could possibly need is out there, ready for you to use, and if you use it correctly, you can be a good investor. Put it simply, the stock market cannot be beat. Now, there are some theories out there that will refute the idea that the stock market is efficient. However, the CAPM, or capital asset pricing model, is an idea or a theory that supports the idea that the stock market is efficient. So what the CAPM is it's a theory that really relates the risk of a stock to its expected return. So you can calculate out using this formula and say, okay, this stock may have high risk, but it also has a high expected return. In other words, this could be a good investment. However, if it calculates out and you see, wow, this has really high risk, but I'm not going to get much of a return, you can then say, yeah, I'm not going to invest in this stock. So it's just kind of a guideline to see whether you should invest or not. So as I was getting ready to do some of my own research into the CAPM theory, I decided to look at some previous research. So I did look at Fama and French, and along with that I did Harvard Business Review, Berkeley, and I looked at the Swiss Finance Institute, simply to see what it would be like outside of the US. And basically what all of this came to is kind of inconclusive. They would say that it's a good idea, but perhaps it's not the best way to measure a stock and see whether it's worth investing in. So I was going to do my own kind of experiment, so to speak, to see if I got that same results, to see if whether the CAPM really was a good way to measure a stock or not. So looking at my own methodology, this is going to get a little bit wordy, but I think it's good to see what I was doing. First, I wanted to gather data for an SML graph, which stands for Security Market Line. And what this line does is it tells you where each of the stocks line up in regards to the market itself. So the data I gathered were the betas for each of the stocks. I looked at 8 of them. And then I also looked at the Dow Jones prices for July of 2015 and of 2016. So I looked a year back. And I also looked at the market risk premium to be able to calculate this out. So from there I plotted the SML graph and then put each of the individual stocks and the average beta on there in order to see where they lined up, and then compared those to the historical returns of the stocks in order to see if, hey, yeah, is the CAPM a good model of what's been happening in the last year or not. So looking at the results in a graph, these are the stocks that I was looking at. I'll give you a second to look at them. But as you can see, they really do fall mostly on the SML line, which I thought was kind of interesting considering they're from a varying degree of industries. So what can these results or that graph really tell us? As I mentioned, a lot of them fell close to the SML line. But compared to the returns in the last year, I'm not sure if it's extremely accurate. And in my opinion, it is not foolproof because really we're only looking at the beta of a stock and of the average of that market portfolio in order to see whether it's a good stock to invest in. And as the returns in the past year have shown, they aren't exactly accurate. And so in my opinion, you do need more than the beta to really see whether the stock is worth investing in or not. So I'll go into a little bit more detail of this when I turn in my paper tomorrow. However, for the time being, I just want to say thank you and have a good night.